Hello everyone, Maurice here, and today I'm bringing you another meta report for Axie Infinity Origins. Now it's a Season 10, the early Mystic era. Yeah, well, a lot of new things I would say in terms of archetypes, of course, because of the Mystic runes and charms being available. So now, or the gist of it is basically that Cuckoo Koi is basically the most dominant force, I would say, together with Summon Heal. I guess previously we call it like a healing pulse. Yeah, so of course, like the cucumber of the summons are really strong. So that's basically the strongest at the moment. But there are, the Jinx, Fury Aggro, Earwing, Ringhorn stuff. So that's like the feather stuff. Cuckoo Heal as well. So that Metamorphosis. Bleed AoE. That's like a Brutal Claw basically. Yeah, so those can also be found at the top. But yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. In terms of player-based statistics, not much to say really. Another was a yeah, 10,000 players probably joined. Similarly, like the kind of three peaks kind of thing at Tiger, you can see already 3,000 plus players at Challenger, right, and more than 10,000 plus players at Tiger. So it's yeah, I would say pretty good. People are actually climbing on yeah, so a significant amount of the player base. I would say close to 20. Yeah, close to 20,000 players are Tiger or above at this point. Okay, so fun part is the archetype usage, and you can see I've tried to include as many as possible, but still there are quite a lot that are not really like fall into any of these category. Partly just because yeah, they're just in the Mystic era especially, right? There are a lot of new things, but also like whatever things that works with like the runes and charms. So I would say a good example would be this counter was stance, right? With just like strong attacks like koi or uh, beach, right? The horn one, right? So yeah, that's just a lot of random strong stuff I would say up there as well. That I guess I haven't managed to categorize, but still. I would say yeah, the top I already mentioned, and then I would say sleep poison is another one that is actually going quite well as well. Yeah, I think the rest is I would say similar. Yeah, interestingly, at this is 1,000, sorry, 1,900 plus, right? Jinx actually has more play rate compared to Fury Aggro and the Feather stuff. So of course those three are the main ones, and then there's the Poison as well, both versions of it, and I feels like uh, yeah, the sleep poison is kind of just a bit stronger, whereas the non-sleep poison, right, so basically the one in brown, is it's not as good, it seems like. Anyway, so this is where we can look at the win rate and then we can see a bit more. So for the win rate, this is how I kind of conclude which one is kind of the strongest. Like Cuckoo Koi and Summon Heal is really the very strongest, especially at the very top. The Free Aggro, Ear, Wing, Winghorn stuff is also quite strong at the top. The main thing to note here really is that the Snake Jar Turnip stuff is really falling quite a bit, just because I think especially aggro is really a lot faster, whereas Snake Jar Turnip doesn't really get as many like as much support in terms of runes and charms compared to like aggro stuff. Um, yeah. Okay, so that's basically the gist of it, and then a huge table of the matchup spread. So I would say one thing to note is really like the cocoon heal, which is basically the metamorphosis, is effectively similar to sustain, right? A lot of very good matchup is just like kind of auto win matchup. I would say the unfortunate part, right, is that it's just struggle against Fury aggro, earring wing horn, and I guess the sleep poison. So that's really the thing that's kind of dragging the cocoon heal down, especially the free aggro and earring wing horn is just everywhere still, right? Just because people have the axes, from previous eras as well. It's just yeah. So yeah, otherwise it's actually a very good archetype. So I guess the other thing to know is Cuckoo Koi, right, is actually very good pretty much across the board. I would say except against Cuckoo Heal. So like Cuckoo Heal is probably one of the only like good counter. Of course there are other ones as well, like Leafy or something, but like it's not, very common. I guess Shield, yeah, Shield as in like sustain kind of thing could be good as well, but yeah, so yeah, I think at this point, Koi is probably going to be like one of the most dominant one, unless like cuckoo, also not cuckoo heel, right? The cuckoo koi and the cocoon heel. Yeah, so cuckoo koi is probably the most dominant. Unless the cocoon heel, is a metamorphosis stuff is getting up there again. So I don't think that's happening unless there are some new innovation. But I must say, I think this era is going to be quite fun. I hope there'll be more innovation coming up as well. I'm pretty sure there are stuff that new stuff that I haven't really included just because they're new, haven't really been categorized. But because now we have this metamorph, and so it's now a lot easier to get perfect axes. So I guess one innovation I should mention is. Actually, if I scroll up back up here, is the fear. Right, so fear is basically the archetype that yeah, just deal with fear basically right now because of the forgot the name of the rune, right? That gives you a like is it 1 to 6 fear, right? Every other round you kind of one. So basically automatically the opponents will have fear, and so that makes it a lot easier. So again, a lot of archetypes are only viable in mystics just because of particular runes and charms. So I'll say fear might be one of them. But yeah, it's the win rate wise is actually pretty good. It's getting quite high. Of course, it is more of like an optimized team, but still, I think it's worth a try if it's want to play something new. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so hopefully next time there might be even more new archetypes coming up, but that I might categorize. But okay, until then, I'll see you in the next video.